أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مواضع الفتحة. مواضع الفتحة, that is places where a word that is in the accusative case takes fatha. Basically, places where fatha becomes the sign of a word being mansub. So that is to say, a word can be mansub but not take fatha. So we are going to see conditions where the word takes fatha when it is mansub. It says, the writer of AL-AJRUMIYYA says, أما الفتحة فتكون علامة للنصب في ثلاثة مواضع. في the first one الاسم المفرد. He says, as for fatha, it is the sign of nasb. Fatha is the sign of nasb, which is mansub, in three places. The first one is al-ism al-mufrad. Al-ism al-mufrad, as we've already defined. Imam explaining, he says, وَبِمَاذَا يُرْفَعُ الْإِسْمُ الْمُفْرَدِ. And with what sign does ism al-mufrad, that is a singular noun, becomes raf'u? What sign does a singular noun, which is marfu, what sign does it take? It says, بِالضَّمَّةِ. It takes dhamma. Even, this is a recap actually, as we've already treated in rafu. So he's recapping, or he's just refreshing our mind. Idhan, al-ismul mufradu, the singular noun, yurfa'u bid-dammati, is made marfu' by dhamma, wa yunsabu bil-fathati, and it is made mansub by fatha. This is, you just memorize this. Al-ismul mufrad yunsabu, yurfa'u bid-dammati wa yunsabu bil-fatha. You just have a qaida like that, then you memorize. Wal-ismul mufradu, كما سبق أن قلنا, as we've previously said, أنه ما دل على واحد أو واحدة. The definition of al-ism al-mufrad again, anything that refers to one thing is called al-ism al-mufrad. Imam of AL-AJRUMIYYA says وَجَمْعِ التَّقْصِيرِ, and also the second of these three places is when a word is جمع التكسير. جمع التكسير ينصب بالفتحة. جمع التكسير is made mansub by fatha. وسبق أنه يرفع بالضمة, and previously we've seen that it is made marfu' by dhamma. وجمع التكسير هو ما دل على ثلاثة فأكثر. It is that which refers to three things or more. مع تغير بناء مفرده, whilst the structure of each singular is being changed. So you change the structure of the singular to make the plural. That is what we call jam' al-taksir, as we've already explained. Mithlu, example, al-rijalu, example of broken plurals. Al-rijalu, al-a'rabu, al-masajidu, ad-duwaru. I think we've already explained this, so we wouldn't go much. Al-rijalu, men, al-a'rab, that is Bedouin Arabs, al-masajidu, mosques, ad-duwar, and that is the plural of ad-dawr, row. So ad-duwar, rows, R-O-L-E-S. Wa ashya'u kathiratun, and a lot of things. Okay. Imam of AL-AJRUMIYYA again says, وَالْفِعْلِ الْمُضَارِعِ والفعل المضارع إذا دخل عليه ناصب ولم يتصل بآخره شيء. So now we've seen that الفعل المفرد الاسم المفرد يرفع بالضمة وينصب بالفتحة. وجمع التقصير يرفع بالضمة وينصب بالفتحة. We have this saved. And now the third is al-fi'l al-mudari', present tense verb. إذا دخل عليه ناصب, if it comes into contact or it is preceded by a nasib. When we say nasib, we mean some letters or articles or harf, as we say, that causes a present tense verb to become mansub. So because they cause a word to become mansub, then we call it nasib. Okay, so if a noun, or if a verb, present tense verb, is preceded by one of these nasibs, which they are also known in grammar, we will see them inshallah. وَلَمْ يَتَّصِلْ بِآخِرِهِ شَيْءٍ, and its tail or ending is not attached to anything. As we've seen the attachment already, when it is attached to nun niswa, like yadriban, and nisa'u yadribna is nun niswa, and nisa'u yadribna. And then we have la'adribannaka, la'adriban, that I've added nun tawqid. So it's either when the word comes into contact with a present tense verb, is sometimes attached to a noun of emphasis or a noun of feminine. Now here it is telling us that there is this condition that the word, the noun, the present tense verb should not be attached to anything, and it should be preceded by a nasib. This is the third condition where a present tense, where a noun, or where a word takes fatha as the sign for nasb. So that is what he says, وَالْفِعْلِ الْمُضَارِعِ, and the present tense verb, إِذَا دَخَلَ عَلَيْهِ نَاصِبٌ, if it is preceded by a nasib, which I've explained, وَلَمْ يَتَّصِلْ بِآخِرِهِ شَيْءٌ, and its ending is not attached to anything. So he explains and says, وَمَا الَّذِي فَقَدْنَا مِنَ الَّذِي يُرْفَعُ بِالضَّمَّةِ. He's comparing the two already. He's saying that what have we lost from, or what have we missed from those that we studied that they are made marfu by Dhamma. So when we did the Dhamma, we said a word becomes marfu with Dhamma when it is al-ismul mufrad, when it is jam'u taksir, or when it is jam'ul mu'annath salim. This is the three. But here we had al-ismul mufrad, and then we have jam'u taksir, but then the third, we are now going for the third, and the third they are telling us that present tense verb when it is not attached to anything and it is preceded by a nasib. So we realize that here does not have jam'ul mu'annas salim. Okay. And it also does not have al-fi'l al-mudari alladhi lam yattasil bi akhirihi shay. We also said a present tense verb that is not attached to anything is made marfu by dhamma. Okay. And he says لأن جمع المؤنث السالم سيأتي أنه ينصب بالكسرة. It will come, or later we will learn that it is made mansub by kasra and not fatha. So here جمع المؤنث does not come in. هنا يقول, here he says والفعل المضارع إذا دخل عليه ناصب ولم يتصل بآخره شيء. This is the repetition I'm talking about. So if you are a diligent reader or a consistent reader and you don't lazy and jump, you keep reading even if he repeats, it sticks. The definition sticks before you finish the topic. He says, اشترط المؤلف شرطين. The author gave two conditions. إذا دخل عليه ناصب. The first condition for the present tense is it should be preceded by a nasib, which is a word that causes the word that comes after it to become mansub. وهذا الشرط, and this condition لا بد منه, it is a must. وهذا الشرط لا بد منه, and this is a must. لأنه لا يمكن أن ينصب إلا إذا دخل عليه ناصب, because the present tense verb cannot be made mansub except when a word that makes another mansub precedes it. الثاني, the second condition, he says ولم يتصل بآخره شيء, and its ending should not be attached to anything. He says ويريد بالشيء, and the shay that he's talking about here is نون التوكيد, as I've already said, noon of emphasis, ونون النسوة, and noon of feminine, which is attached to a present tense verb to show us that the one doing the action is feminine. فإن اتصل بآخره نون توكيد, if the verb's ending is attached to the noon of emphasis, أو نون النسوة, or the noon of feminine, لم ينصب بالفتحة, it is not made mansub by fatha. So if you are doing the grammatical analysis in such a case, you won't say فعل مضارع منصوب وعلامة نصبه الفتحة. You won't say that. Okay. مثال ذلك, example of that, he's come to give us an example of the فعل مضارع that has nasib preceding it and its ending is not attached to anything. Okay. Yakumu, the verb yakumu, he's standing up or he's standing. وَلْيَكُنْ حَرْفُنَا حَرْفَ النَّصْبِ لَن, and let us make لن our حرف النصب. That is what he's saying. وَلْيَكُنْ حَرْفُنَا حَرْفَ النَّصْبِ. The حرف النصب is what we call nasib. So let us make لن our حرف النصب. فَتَقُول, so you say مثلا يقوم الرجل, the man is standing. يقوم, you do the إعراب and say فعل مضارع مرفوع بالضمة. But as we've said, if you want to really expand the إعراب appropriately, you say فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة if you want. You don't say مرفوع بالضمة if you want to expand it appropriately. So he says فعل مضارع مرفوع بالضمة لأنه لم يدخل عليه ناصب. It is the fi'l mudari here يقوم is مرفوع and the sign is ضمة because لم يدخل عليه ناصب, no nasib has preceded it, no harf nasb has preceded it. ولا جازم, or a harf that causes the noun the verb to be majzoom, neither has such a harf preceded it. So no harf precedes يقوم. ولم يتصل بآخره شيء, and its ending is not attached to anything. الرجل فاعل مرفوع بالضمة لأنه مفرد. The rajul is also fa'il, that is the doer, and the sign that it is marfu is dhamma because it's a singular noun, because it's ism al-ism al-mufrad. So here we realize that yakumu is not mansub because nothing of the nawasib precedes it. The nasib is plural, is nawasib. No harf nasb precedes it, so it is marfu. Says فإذا أردت أن تنصب هذا الفعل تقول, if you want to make this verb يقوم mansub, you say لن يقوم الرجل, the man will not stand. لن means will not. لن يقوم الرجل, the man will not stand. ولا يجوز أن تقول, it's not permitted for you to say لن يقوم الرجل. It's not permitted for you to make the يقوم dhamma again. بل يجب أن تقول, you are supposed to say, you must say لن يقوم الرجل, the man will not stand. فتنصب بالفتحة أو فتنصب بالفتحة. So in this case the يقوم would be made mansub. It will now take fatha because of lan, because when lan precedes a present tense verb, the present tense verb becomes mansub, not marfu. He says لماذا, why do we make it mansub with fatha? Why do we give it fatha? He says لأنه فعل مضارع, because it is a present tense verb. لم يتصل بآخره شيء, Is ending is not attached to anything. So you realize that yakumu, the verb yakumu ends with the meme. The meme, there's nothing attaching to it. You don't say yakumna or yakumanna. You've not attached it to anything. Okay. So وَدَخَلَ عَلَيْهِ نَاصِبٌ, and it has been preceded by a nasib. So when the present tense verb is preceded by a nasib, and also its ending is not attached to anything, like waw and noon, or noon al-tawqid, or noon al-niswa, then this present tense verb becomes mansub wa alamatu nasbihi al-fatha. The sign of it being accusative becomes fatha. Ar-rajulani lan yakumani. The two men will not stand. La yasihhu. This is not right. لأنه فعل مضارع, because it is a present tense verb. دخل عليه ألف الاثنين, which has the alif of dual. So yakumani, after mim, the alif that comes after mim is called alif isnain. I think I mentioned it before. They have alif isnain and waw al-jama'a. والمؤلف يقول, and the writer is saying لم يتصل بآخره شيء. Since the writer has said لم يتصل بآخره شيء, you can't say الرجلان يقومان is منصوب بالفتحة. No, you can't say that. Now the i'rab changes, because this doesn't fall under the منصوب بالفتحة. It doesn't fall under the مواضع الفتحة. If you say النساء لن يقمن ينصب بالفتحة, is it made mansub by fatha, the yakumna? Because the noon is, the ending is taking fatha. You see the noon taking fatha, so you think it is mansub wa alamatu nasbihi al-fatha. Says no, la. لماذا? Why? لأنه دخلت عليه نون النسوة, because the feminine noon has been attached to it. So the noon that is taking the fatha here is noon niswa. The verb itself has now taken sukun, so it is not mansub bil fatha. Okay. والله لن يذهبن. والله لن يذهبن. I swear by God, they will never go. ينصب بالفتحة. Is it made mansub by fatha? The yazhabanna, because the bow is having fatha or nun is having fatha, you say it is mansub bil fatha? La. No, you don't say that. لماذا? Why? لأنه اتصل بآخره نون التوكيد, because its ending has been attached to nun التوكيد. So you realize that there is a nun at-tawkid there. I think we discussed something about the bina, the words that are mabni, and we said all huruf in Arabic language are mabniya, and we also said all past tense verbs, al-af'al al-madiyya, kulluha mabniya. We said that too. And we said al-fi'l al-mudari, the present tense verb, yubna fi halatayn. It is made mabni in two cases. إذا اتصل به نون التوكيد أو نون النسوة. If the present tense verb is attached to nun al-tawkid, it is mabni. It becomes indeclinable. So you don't say mansub and even go on to say wa alamatu nasbihi. No. So something like yadhabanna, you say fi'l mudari mabniyun ala al-fath. مبني على الفتح لاتصاله بنون التوكيد. You get it? On a normal day fi'l mudari, if it was لن يذهب, and it's not attached to anything, what we will say is that يذهب فعل مضارع منصوب بلن وعلامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. But because it is now attached to a nun tawkid, we consider the fatha there not to be alama to i'rab. It is not a sign of changes because the moment it is attached to nun tawkid or nun niswa, now this fatha you see there is indeclinable wherever you put it in any sentence. If you bring lam, you say lam yazhabanna, still yazhabanna. In any case, you bring yazhabanna, since the nun tawkid is attached to it, it becomes mabni, indeclinable. It does not change. So here you don't say fi'l mudari mansub wa alamatu. No. You don't go there at all. Say fi'l mudari'un mabniyun ala al-fathi لاتصاله بنون التوكيد. That is what we say. Okay, so he goes on and says فالحاصل أن المؤلف حاصل is the what we make of it, completely what we make of it. Says فالحاصل أن المؤلف. So in summary, kind of putting everything together, what we get from the writer is that أن المؤلف رحمه الله, that the writer اشترط لنسب الفعل بالفتحة أن يكون مضارعا. He gave a condition for to make the verb mansub بالفتحة. The verb has to be مضارعا. It has to be فعل مضارع, present tense verb first of all. And وأن يدخل عليه ناصب, and a nasib, which is a preposition, a harf that causes a verb to end in fatha or to end in the accusative case, must precede it. وأن لا يتصل بآخره شيء, and its ending should not be attached to anything. Now, even if you look at this sentence, أن يدخل, so يدخل here is فعل مضارع, it has been preceded by أن, and it is not attached to anything. So we say يدخل فعل مضارع منصوب, or we say فعل مضارع منصوب بأن وعلامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. Okay, so I pray everything is clear here, inshallah. This is the first sign, which is the basic, and so we need to read through again to get everything very clearly before we top up, inshallah. May Allah make our knowledge beneficial to ourselves and the ummah at large. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين يا رب موسى وهارون وإيسى ومحمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أكرمنا بقوة الحفظ والفهم والمعرفة والحكمة. آمين.